Greetings from the University of Utah. Today is Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. It is about 11 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time. Temperature is probably around 38 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see that there's actually snow in quite a few areas. Not full coverage, but it's enough to where it's on the ground, touching the trees, and sort of falling from the trees and melting. It snowed yesterday after being kind of like in the 50 degree weather. Yesterday dropped to 30 and it snowed for like several hours straight. I noticed that a lot of students were waiting here, and it seems to be some type of bus. I don't know if it's a shuttle that comes or if it's an actual UTA bus that takes you elsewhere. But I'm not too familiar with the UTA campus. The University of Utah campus. You can see there's like a lot of bicycles parked over there. But one of my inspirations for doing this video is not to preach, this is where this is on the University of Utah campus, and so. I tried to lightly look at the map, but I'll probably forget things. But when I was at the Red Butte Gardens the other day, which is kind of, if I would ride my bike uphill like 10 minutes that way, that's where the gardens would be. I went there for a little Halloween tour. But on the way back, I rode my bike through the University of Utah and was very surprised to see that they had like a dedicated bike trail embedded within the campus. So I kind of wanted to show off that infrastructure. When I rode that day, it was like 60 degrees and sunny. Now we've got a little bit of snow on the ground. The reason I started up there was because the biking infrastructure starts right about here. So I wanted to make sure I showed that. And if you're starting up here, it's like all downhill. If you're coming the other direction, then it's going to be all uphill. So hopefully you can see the ground, but they have bike lanes, a dedicated bike lane, and then next to it they have the walking lane. My snow is hitting me left and right from melting from the trees. So yes, the bike lanes are on the right, walking lanes on the left, and then they have where you can go either direction.
Yeah.
And then this is a cool looking bridge that connects over one of the big streets. Now once you get to this end of the bridge, by the way, there is a red track station that takes you to this point. But once you get over to this spot, if you don't want to carry your bike down the stairs, just take the elevator. That, by the way, I believe is like one of the but one of the Utah hospitals. So we're going to go a little lower level. And I like too how you enter the elevator one way and you're going to exit the opposite, so you don't have to worry about turning your bike around. This is very heavily used. It just happened to be no one was using it now, but I was here 6 days ago. 2 or 3 other people boarded with me with either a scooter or a bicycle, and then when I was getting off, there was 5 people waiting to get on. Okay, so let's try to figure this out. And again, you can see a lot of people use bicycles. There's tons of bike racks everywhere, and they all have plenty of usage. See how the biking infrastructure continues here, and you have even wider lanes. So this is completely dedicated to the bicycles or scooters, and then the left side is for the walkers. Alright, now I need to try to remember. I think for a brief stretch here, like there could be parts of the biking trail that I'm missing and just not aware of, but I think this part, it's like shared for everyone, but it is still a very nice wide sidewalk. But then once we get a little bit further ahead, we're going to see the bike path resume. See that on the left, someone even built a tiny snowman. Okay, so over here, this is what I noticed the other day. I saw the sign that said bike route and no pedestrians. So I wonder if in the future maybe they'll construct a bike path to continue. And I also wonder how new this is. I mean, the paths look very new themselves. I don't know if this is a recent development or if it's been around for a while. Yeah, I wonder how many campuses have something like this where the bike route truly cuts through a good portion of campus. You know, because everything on the left and right are part of the university buildings. Just because I haven't been here myself, I'm unable to describe, you know, which one's the business building, which one's the humanities building. Okay, so now let me think. I know the other day you can, yeah, I believe I went left here because there is one small portion remaining of the bike route. Which is right over here. And to my recollection, this was sort of the end of the bike route. Now it says yield. There could be other areas that I'm just not familiar with. No, my mistake. The bike route does continue a little bit here. I think it just once you get down this hill. So yes, when I got to this point, then I sort of just went through the parking lot and was weaving in and out between a bunch of buildings. It's possible that the bike route actually continues elsewhere, but if it does, I'm not familiar with it. But that's a good segue to take us to the Eccles Stadium where the University of Utah football team plays. Now they do, you know, have the bicycle markings like, oh, bicycles can ride here, but you know, I don't quite like it when it's shared like that. I'm going to try to bicycle though to the front, or the part where I think of as the front of the University of Utah football stadium. So I may have to make a loop around, going that way and then to the right. Here's one of the red track signs that I was referring to. So that's what I took to get from if I should cut through there. Used crosswalk. Yeah, I think I am gonna cut through there because the sidewalk sort of ends. I took the train from downtown Salt Lake City at the courthouse station and got off right where that bridge was that you saw earlier. Okay, like I said, this is sort of me improvising with my exploring, but it just seems to make sense. The stadium's there. This is a parking lot, and I feel like it's cutting through and avoiding having to ride in the street. When they had the Olympics back in 2002 in Salt Lake City, I know the campus and the stadium were used for events. There we go. We kind of found the right way to get over here. Now the question is, am I on the right side, correct side for where the torch is? Or have they taken it down? There used to be like a big, tall structure here that commemorated when the Olympics were here, but I don't see it anymore. And I know there was an article like last year about them taking it down for either rehabilitation or moving it. I'm not sure exactly. Let me make sure while I'm here I get a picture of the stadium. I'm also going to tighten my camera a little bit. Unfortunately, we seem to be losing the sidewalk up here. Unless it continues on to the right. Oh, okay, maybe it continues over here. Oh no, I do still. Alright, so it was a little bit further ahead. I still see the Olympic torch structure, at least part of it, although I don't think it's quite in its glory days. I believe this used to be a museum related to the Olympics right here. Yeah, Cauldron Park. But I think Cauldron Park is also undergoing either some renovations or maybe those are finished. But I know I had read something because I wanted to do a video here a year or so ago and I couldn't. Oh, here we go. This is still some pretty good imagery to check out. I'm going to try to take this off. Okay, so I am walking now to show Olympic and Paralympic Cauldron Plaza. I didn't realize they had these, like, what do you want to call them? Infographics and stands to commemorate the games, or in memory of celebration of them. World's Games, People of America, Utah, and Salt Lake City, you have given the world superb games. That was from the International Olympic Committee president from 2001 to 2013. Let's see here, do they have stuff on both sides? Yep. United success, 34 Olympic medals, 43 Paralympic medals, 261 total Team USA athletes. Team USA triumphs. Sarah Hughes was the youngest member of the U.S. figure skating team in 2002 at 16 years old. Saved her best performance for the biggest moment of her career, skating with joy, ease, and grace to capture gold in the individual women's event. Oh, Apollo Ono. I remember Apollo Ono. I had trying to look at these and see if there was any athletes that I had watched. I don't know if I watched them during this Olympics, but I definitely, like in 2006 and onward, was more cognizant of the Olympic Games. They must have like a list of all the athletes from all the different countries. So those are the international teams. That one over there was the United States participants. And then they've got flags of all the participating countries. Flags featured here represent each country that competed in the Salt Lake 2002 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. Salt Lake 2002 featured 77 Olympic countries and 36 Paralympic countries. The flags are arranged to represent the shape of Utah's state borders. Oh, really? I guess I should have figured that out. See, the flags are shaped to the state of Utah, which essentially you just make a, taller rectangle, except have that top right corner etched out. Oh, and here's where you could pose as if you were either a silver, gold, or bronze medalist, right? Spirit of the games. And you know what? Right here, I wonder if this is the stadium that, the University of Utah Stadium that we're at right now, because this might be what we're looking at. Let's see if it says fireworks explode in the opening night ceremonies. Yes, the opening ceremony featured a child skating around Eccles Stadium while avoiding a raging storm with a lantern in hand. After the storm of adversity dissipates, this lantern light spread to hundreds of other children and beyond in the crowd. Children of Light were a powerful symbol in the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2002 Games, representing youth, hope, courage, idealism, peace, and honor. So if you can imagine this torch right here, I guess this is like what they lit up, and that is the structure that we are looking at right here. I'm pretty sure, unless it's just been moved. And then the flame would have been at the top of that, and that would have been outside the stadium. So the lower part here is kind of the lower part that you see here. Although in this picture, this is like in the stadium, so perhaps it looks like it's in the stadium, so maybe they just moved it beyond here. But I'm guessing that is the kind of the context. Hope after tragedy. Yeah, so that is a good point. Beginning just 5 months after September 11th, 2001 attacks, the Salt Lake Organizing Committee shepherded the approaching games through a period of uncertainty to prepare for the opening ceremony. As 56,000 people looked on in reverence from inside Eccles Stadium, a contingent of athletes and first responders carried the American flag from the World Trade Center in New York City into the arena as a symbol of healing, resilience, and unity. The Olympic flame that traveled nearly 13,500 miles across the U.S. was placed in the hands of Lake Placid 1980 Miracle on Ice hockey team, who raised a torch in unison to light the 2002 Olympic Cauldron. I mean, so that's crazy. Like, I know I see this all the time. Like, do they actually travel that full distance, or is it like kind of a montage, like cut up of, here and there? Light the fire within. So it sounds like in 1995 is when Salt Lake City was selected as a 2002 host. I'm just going to check what's on the other end of these signs, if anything. Alright, so this is maybe some more history of the... Sorry, I know the light is right, or the sunlight is blocking our thing. Let me try to cover that sunlight. Maybe if I do it from this angle right here. There we go. An everlasting beacon, built of tempered steel and 738 individual pieces of glass. WET of California designed the 72-foot Salt Lake 2002 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games Cauldron. The innovative design combines fire and water, a 900-degree Fahrenheit flame burning within the cauldron's flowing waters and 12 feet high above it. Aerodynamics of Clearfield, Utah fabricated the cauldron frame. Western Glass of Ogden, Utah created its glass pieces. Construction for the original Olympic Cauldron Park began in October 2002 and was completed in time to commemorate the one-year anniversary of the Salt Lake 2002 Games in February 2003. With the this might have been the construction I was thinking of. With the expansion of Eccles Stadium, the cauldron was taken off campus for a full refurbishment process. God, that was during the pandemic. So I was probably thinking of this during, just around when the pandemic was starting, but time flies. The undertaking included replacement of all the original glass with higher quality panes by Holdman Studios of Lehi, that's a city in Utah, as well as adding supportive infrastructure elements. The cauldron returned in January 2021 and was placed on the 17-foot pedestal in this plaza as the centerpiece of the renamed Olympic and Paralympic Cauldron Plaza. So that makes sense. So the pictures I used to see might have been located somewhere else or slightly different, but this is where the cauldron is located now. That's nice that they restored it, and presumably, maybe this plaza was even done up to look even nicer. As it says, that was part of the project to expand the university. But what does this sign say? The Olympic and Paralympic Cauldron, a lasting gift. Cauldron is one of the most iconic symbols of the 2002 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. From the moment its flame was lit at the game's opening ceremony here in Eccles Stadium, the cauldron stood as a beacon to athletes and spectators alike. Its design, uniquely combined with fire and ice, endures as a symbol of the Salt Lake 2002 motto, "Light the fire within." Utah civic leaders and philanthropists George S. and Dolores Eccles, devoted sports enthusiasts, inspired their foundation's leadership in the effort to host the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games in Salt Lake City. And then it goes on to talk more about those individuals. As chairman and CEO of George and Dolores Eccles Foundation, Spence Eccles was instrumental in awarding major leadership funding of more than $20 million to the Games, contributing significantly to its success. This included support not only for the Cauldron, but also the expansion of the Eccles Stadium for both the opening and closing ceremonies, the George Eccles 2002 Legacy Bridge, the Olympic Village at historic Fort Douglas, and the ceremonies themselves. And see, that was another reason why I did start up near Fort Douglas. Those little areas and housing, that used to be more of a military base for, who knows how long, probably like in the 1800s. And there's actually a military museum up near that area that I didn't show. But what I had read was during the Olympics, so a lot of those buildings, because the University of Utah had acquired them, were used to house like Olympic personnel, and I'm not sure if it was used to house the athletes or not. But also, if I'm understanding correctly, that bridge that we crossed over, that I rode the bike on, I think that was built because of the Olympics. So the 2002 Legacy Bridge, because that's the name of the bridge. So that's interesting to know, what type of things were constructed and built in order to promote and support the Games. Yeah, so that's a tribute to their generosity. You know what? This says 2021, so I think that is right. How over there that sign said that this new Cauldron Park opened in 2021, and I was wondering did these signs exist previously? I'm not sure, maybe some of the signs existed, but at least some of these appear to be brand new. So yeah, I'm glad that I came over here. It also looks like there's some stuff that I missed on the backside of this one. Let me try to wheel my bike over there. It's kind of a tight squeeze. Oh, I should look. There's also a plaque here. Oh, I didn't know it was colored on this side. I saw the silver on the other side. The Olympic rings. Well, that's your shot right there, right? The Olympic rings with the torch. I'm going to make sure I take some photos before I'm done. Olympic rings introduced in 1913 to symbolize the union of the 5 continents and the meeting of athletes from throughout the world at the Olympic Games. It's a good trivia to know because I've never quite followed what the Olympic Games stand for, or the rings stand for. And this is the Paralympics symbol. So we want to see the backside of this. Team 2002. Talking about Mitt Romney and Fraser Bullock. Wow, that looks... So I've done some videos in downtown Salt Lake City before. But that right there looks really like a really cool picture. Because this is where Temple Square area would have been. I'm trying to think though what area this is in. I feel like this is... I don't know, that's not Cauldron Plaza, is it? I'm not sure if any of this will mention it. I don't know, I need to have a better perspective of my bearings, but that picture looks, I don't know. Hopefully it comes through on the camera, but that just looks like a perfect picture with all the fireworks lined up. It looks like they even had the Olympic rings and the mountains lit up. Alright, but that will do it for our tour of Olympic Park and the surrounding areas in the University of Utah. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button, give us a subscribe, let us know what you thought of both the Olympic Park and like the biking infrastructure that cut through the area, and we will see you next time. Before I do, I'll just say that I'm the gold medalist, right? Olympic gold. Thanks for tuning in again.